Hi everybody, we got a video to go over some questions we've been getting on social media, so we wanted to do another video to kind of go over some of those questions. One was people wanted to see more of the inside of the car with the body off, so we did take the body off this car to kind of give you a little bit better view of what all the inside looks like. The speed control and receiver is right here. It's a combination unit, but they are completely separate from each other. The motor plugs in here, servo plugs in here. There's the extra port there. This is for the binding, and also you can plug a transponder in there. The other thing we wanted to talk about was the steering servo. So a few people have asked or commented that they've tried to trim the steering to get it to go straight, and they've maxed out the trim. So there's two things you can do to correct this. Number one is the servo has a little bit of play. So if you loosen up these two screws, if you take the panel off and you loosen up these two screws, you'll see that the servo can move back and forth just a little bit. It's got a little bit of movement in it, and we did that so that if you wanted to put optional servos in the car, there's a little bit extra room. But you can loosen that up and you can move that back and forth just a little bit, and you can see how much it actually moves the steering. So if you do max out the trim, just loosen those two screws and you can move that and get that back to where you need to. The other thing is if when they put these cars together, they're doing them very quick and they're doing a lot of them. So sometimes they don't put this servo adapter on the servo in the right spot or don't get it centered. So that's really easy to change. You can just take this screw out, and there's a spring in there, and you'll just take this loose, take the screw all the way out. The spring and the washer will come out. Just make sure you keep that, set that aside. The servo arm will just come off of there. Now what you can do is just use a small pair of needle nose, and you can just pull this piece off here, and it just kind of wiggle it. It's pretty tight, but it's got a spline in it. So that just line that up, put that on, just jump a tooth basically, either forward or backwards, and then you can put the servo back together. Put this piece back on there, and it has a groove in there where it'll line up. And then just take the screw with the washer and the spring. Just get that lined up in the hole and just tighten this up. Now when you tighten this all the way down, it will stop. Don't over tighten it because it will strip out. So once you get pretty close to about right there, just slow down and go real easily, and you'll feel it tighten up, and then just leave it right there. And that'll bring it back to center. You can redo your steering, and then you can get it all set. The other thing we wanted to do was on the radio. Some people have said the steering is a little bit twitchy or a little bit too much or a little bit too fast. So there's no real adjustment in here to turn the speed down. But what you can do on the radio, right here there's a wheel knob, and this rolls forward and backwards. When you push it this direction, when you go that direction, that increases the amount of steering, so it'll go full steering. The car is very, very hard to drive like that. So roll this all the way back and then roll it forward a little bit. Drive the car, get it to where you feel, good with it. If it doesn't turn quite enough, just ease that up just a little bit by a little bit until you get it to where you want, and then you'll get a good feel for it. So just play around with that a little bit, and like I said, it doesn't slow it down, but it does help it from oversteering. The other question was, in the bag you get these little, they look like a C washer, and these are spring clips. So what you can do to adjust the suspension is you can slide these in. So if you just kind of take your fingernail in there and just kind of pull the spring down, and you can just slide these in and they just snap in there. So that'll put more pressure on each spring. And there's two different size clips. I think there's 4 of each size in the car. So you can adjust your suspension. They are a little hard to get out, so if you use like a little needle nose or something, you can grab onto them and you can just pull them straight out. So that's everything we wanted to go over in this video. If you have any other questions, hit us up on our Contact Us section on our website or email us directly, and we'll answer your questions right away. If it's common questions we're getting, we'll do another one of these videos and go over some of the things on the car. Make sure you follow our social media pages for new updates on the car, and thanks for watching.